All right, let's talk the Super Bowl. We got Seattle, we got New England. Both teams are chasing history, but no matter the outcome, one team will guarantee to make history. Find out who and how during this special Super Bowl 60 preview episode of 2nd and 15. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to this special episode of 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. Now, normally I film and release episodes Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, but I wanted to do a preview episode just a couple hours before we watch the final NFL game of the 2025 season. For those who are newer to the NFL, let's do a quick rundown of the basics of this matchup. This game will be against the winners of the NFC and AFC Conference Championship games, the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. The Seahawks are led by quarterback Sam Darnold, the third overall pick out of the 2018 draft, while the Patriots are led by the second-year quarterback Drake May, who was drafted third overall as well, but in the 2024 NFL draft out of the University of North Carolina. Both teams at the beginning of the season, they were a long shot. I'm talking like 50-1 odds to even make it to the Super Bowl, as New England last year had a 4-13 record, and the Seahawks, despite going 10-7, would miss the playoffs as well. This Super Bowl will be a rematch of Super Bowl 49, where the Patriots cornerback Malcolm Butler intercepted quarterback Russell Wilson at the goal line of the Patriots end zone, where the Seahawks were just a yard or two away from victory. The last Seahawks Super Bowl win came in the 2014 season, where they defeated the Denver Broncos in dominating fashion with a final score of 43-8. The Patriots' last Super Bowl win came during the 2018-2019 season, where they beat the Los Angeles Rams in a very underwhelming matchup with a final score of 13-3. Hopefully, this Super Bowl will be one for the books. Now, let's do an analysis on both teams, starting with New England. Now, no matter the outcome of this game, the Patriots will make history. If the Patriots win, they will become the first franchise with 7 Super Bowl titles and will lead the league in franchises with those 7 Super Bowls. However, if they lose, they will also lead the league in franchise Super Bowl losses. And then here's where things get interesting, because history, it can motivate you or it can completely fuck you over. We've seen it before. Teams pressing and forcing things, trying to become perfect and make history instead of just playing the game in the moment. Shit, we saw this in last year's Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, as all season long people were talking about three-peat, making history. It just never seemed to fucking end. And it only did when they got their ass handed to them by none other than the Philadelphia Eagles. And yes, I am wearing the Super Bowl champion shirt from last year, as today is the last day for the Eagles to officially be called the reigning Super Bowl champions. The Patriots also, they're not getting much respect for their playoff run, let alone their path to the playoffs in the first place. Fans are saying they, quote, haven't played anyone throughout the regular season, and in the postseason, they played Justin Herbert of the Chargers, who historically is complete ass in the playoffs. Then they played the Texans, led by CJ Stroud, who had one of the worst games of his career, throwing 4 interceptions in the first half. And then finally, they had a 10-7 win over Broncos backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. But here's the thing, though. You don't have to apologize for winning. We've seen this type of criticism about Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles before, and he and the team have been praised for their ability to win, especially in tough scenarios. And that is what Drake May and the Patriots have been doing this year. You got to take the hand that you're dealt with and make the best out of it. And you got to give credit to the Patriots for how they've done this year. Let's look at a few strengths and weaknesses of this team going into the Super Bowl. So one of the Patriots' strengths right now is they've had a continuously improving pass rush. They have a blitz rate of 44% and have consistently improved throughout the season, often forcing the pocket to collapse early, or they put QBs into uncomfortable positions where they are not passing well and making mistakes. This will be something to watch going against the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. One of their other strengths is their run defense. The Patriots have allowed an average of 3 yards per carry throughout the postseason and just over 4 yards per carry during the regular season. One of their most disruptive players, former Eagles defensive tackle Milton Williams, has been a unit for that front seven, logging 34 total tackles, 5.5 sacks, and a pass deflection. Along with Milton, you got Christian Barmore and Khyiris Tonga, and they won't make it easy against Seattle's offensive line and Sam Darnold, who've seen their own fair share of struggles throughout the season. And the last strength of the Patriots that I'll talk about for now is Drake May. May has been having an elite level season, coming in as the runner-up to the league MVP race. He's been able to make plays, especially when he's pressured and blitz, and does so in a calm and efficient manner. He doesn't get very overwhelmed and risk making costly mistakes. He's great at throwing over the middle, and he's got good dual threat capabilities, making plays with his legs when it counts, as he's accounted for almost 600 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns between the regular and postseasons. He's also able to take, and willing to do so, take the simple yet clock-killing plays, such as the easy checkdowns or the run options when necessary. When you have an MVP-level quarterback, even the toughest defenses need to be on their A-game. All right, now let's look at some of the weaknesses of this Patriots team going into this game. And probably the most notable one is their offensive line. Their offensive line has struggled this year. They have 2 rookies at left guard and left tackle, and both of their tackles have struggled against edge rushers throughout the entire season. Even though May is good at making plays under pressure, he's not perfect and can't always get it done due to struggles from the O-line, not having enough time to pass from the snap, as the O-line has allowed 5 or more sacks against Drake May in every single postseason game they have played so far. If the O-line can't buy time for Drake, it's going to be a hell of a long afternoon for them. The next weakness I'm going to talk about is ball security and turnover risk. So the O-line issues have contributed to this, but also Drake May has a little bit to blame every now and then, as he leads the league with 14 fumbles from week 1 to now, and 6 of those have come in the postseason, and losing 3 of them. Most of these fumbles were against less than efficient defenses, and definitely less efficient defenses than the Seahawks, who have 25 total turnovers, including 9 forced fumbles on the year. May's going to have a challenge avoiding costly turnovers that could decide this game. And the last weakness I'll talk about is their red zone offense. The Patriots have been about right in the middle of the pack this league with a 57% red zone touchdown completion rate. However, that number drops down significantly, all the way to 33% in the playoffs, where they faced 3 top 10 level defenses and couldn't score more than 16 points against 2 of them. And to put things into perspective, I think Seattle has the same red zone offense touchdown rate in the regular season, but in the postseason, that jumps all the way to almost 73%. The Patriots are going to have an even harder time against Seattle's #1 scoring defense and top 3 total defense. It's very tough to win games when you have to settle for field goals, which is something I think the Patriots are going to end up having to do on some of their drives. All right, now that we've discussed the Patriots, let's switch on over to the Seahawks. With the Seahawks, you have Sam Darnold, and his story has just been inspiring this year. From being traded to the Jets, to then being booted off the Panthers, the 49ers, and then most recently the Vikings, even after bringing them to 14 wins last year, they decided not to keep him. Now with Seattle, he's brought another team to 14 wins in their regular season, becoming the only quarterback in NFL history to take 2 teams to 14 or more wins in back-to-back seasons. Additionally, Darnold will officially become the only quarterback so far from the 2018 draft class to play in a Super Bowl, a draft class that includes guys like Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. From an overall team standpoint, after taking an embarrassing Week 1 loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, they have been dominant, going 16-2 from Week 2 till now. And that includes 9 consecutive victories. Wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's been off the fucking chain this season with almost 1,800 regular season receiving yards and almost 2,000 receiving yards when you add in the postseason, and achieving 12 total touchdowns. But the most notable part of this Seattle team, which will be the first strength that we talk about, is their defense. Their defense has been absolutely fucking elite, finishing the regular season with the NFL's best scoring defense, only allowing around 17.2 points on average per game, and was among the top units in total defense. Now, despite them letting up over 370 passing yards to Matt Stafford in the NFC Conference Championship, that was against the league's #1 scoring offense, and they beat that team twice this year. Their defense consistently shuts down run-heavy packages and jumbo formations, holding opponents to minimal games, which I would expect New England to try due to their lack of elite pass catchers. And that is something that I think New England is going to struggle against. The next strength I have of this Seattle team is scoring diversity. The Seahawks had 11 different offensive playmakers score a touchdown this season and have elite key playmakers in both their run and their pass games. On the ground, you got Kenneth Walker, and he's been getting shit done, especially after losing his tandem running back partner, Zach Charbonnet, to injury that basically ended his season. Then, in the air, you got Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's just been having an absolute career season. But then you also got their tight end, AJ Barner, who's come up clutch in a variety of situations and has accumulated 7 touchdowns for this team. Then when you look into their wide receiver depth or more of their special teams, you got Rashid Shaheed, who has just absolute fucking speed that you cannot teach. It's very hard to match up against. And he started off the NFC Championship game with like a 95-yard kickoff touchdown return. Absolutely insane. The Seahawks will find multiple ways to score in this game. All right, now looking at the weaknesses of the Seattle team, probably the most obvious one to a lot of NFL fans is going to be Sam Darnold under pressure. Historically, and even into this season, Darnold doesn't do well under pressure. Unlike May, he's more susceptible to crucial mistakes under pressure, including costly turnovers. Darnold has double-digit interceptions, not just turnovers, interceptions, in 6 out of his 8 career seasons, including this one where he has thrown 14 interceptions so far. And with the Patriots' interior pass rush, Darnold's panic under pressure could lead him to make more of these types of mistakes in this game. And then the last weakness I'll talk about of the Seattle team is the concept of big chunk plays. So despite the eliteness of their defense, Seattle's defense has shown vulnerability at times to give up big chunk plays, and we especially saw this in that NFC Championship game. Their secondary allowed 18 yards per catch to Puka Nacua, 22 yards per catch to Devontae Adams, and 20 yards per catch to the Rams tight end Colby Parkinson, and Seattle especially has struggled against tight ends this year. New England has Hunter Henry, who is in the top 12 of tight ends for receptions and top 10 in both scoring and yards after catch, while maintaining an almost 70% catch completion percentage. With the Patriots' limited pass-catching playmakers on their offense, they could look to Henry to be a reliable, big gain target that could put Seattle into vulnerable positions. All right, before we go into the final scoring predictions of this game, I'll tell you who I think has the edge at each position. So for New England, I think they have the edge at quarterback, obviously with Drake May, running back, considering they have the tandem of Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson healthy and available, tight end and Hunter Henry, and their secondary, especially with guys like cornerback Christian Gonzalez. With Seattle, obviously they take the edge in wide receiver, just with Jackson Smith-Njigba alone. I think they have the edge in their offensive line, their defensive front seven, so that's defensive line, edge, and linebacker, and in special teams, especially when they have the speed demon of Rashid Shaheed. All right, now to end this episode, we'll talk about the final scoring predictions. And with the level that these two teams have played at this year, this game has all the workings of an epic showdown. For the Seahawks, they have the chance to become the 17th franchise to win multiple Super Bowls. And for Sam Darnold, this would cap off the ultimate redemption Cinderella story for him. For the Patriots, they have the chance to lead the league in Super Bowl wins, and for Drake May to etch his name in that category of elite quarterbacks. This game will have a lot of interesting matchups, such as Jackson Smith and Jigba versus Christian Gonzalez, Hunter Henry versus Ernest Jones IV, Sam Darnold versus the Patriots front four, and plenty more. Now, I have friends who are Patriots fans, and I would feel happy for them if their team were to win. But, and this might piss them off, I just think that Seattle, especially with their defense, will just be too strong for the Patriots. So I think the Seahawks will win with a final score of 34-24 and become Super Bowl 60 champions. Scoring wise, I definitely think JSN will score, and I think Kenneth Walker may see the end zone twice for Seattle. And then with the sneaky pick, I think A.J. Barner may get into the end zone for a touchdown. For the Patriots, I think Stephon Diggs and Travion Henderson will see the end zone. And then as my hot take pick, I think Drake May will run it in for a score of his own. But we'll find out in just a couple hours. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at Second and 15 or by the full name Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, Pocket Casts, Deezer, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video uploading to YouTube later that same day. This episode, Second and 15, and Old City Sports Network are brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the app and use our promo code Old City Sports Network, which is shown on your screen, for $20 off your first purchase. With the NFL season coming to an end, there's still tons of available events between now and next season, whether it be sports, concerts, or special isolated events. Use SeatGeek and our promo code Old City Sports Network to get $20 off your first purchase for your next event. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. I appreciate y'all tuning in for this special episode covering this last game of the NFL season for 2025. We will see you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!